Did you know that not all proteins are created equal and, in fact, are very complicated, Heather? This is my new annoying research project.
That feeling when you go out to run some important errands, but instead buy some candles and stop for an ice cream.
I thought a cool new donut shop was opening around the corner from me. Turns out it's just a ghost kitchen for the donut spot's existing locations. Womp womp.
The minute I leave NorCal fog for SoCal sun, it turns 70 and sunny in NorCal as if I triggered the universe or something. Murphy's Law, you a bitch.
You a biatch. Have such a good day. Hello, world. Oh, welcome to Have Such a Good Day.
The show that wants you to do just that. Episode 250. Sarah, this seems like some kind of milestone, no?
I was thinking that too. I was like, ooh, 250. It's like an anniversary. And I'm like, who has 250 anniversaries? Nobody lives long enough to have that.
300 will be more exciting, but 250. That's not, I mean, either way, I'm going to have a drink after this to celebrate. You can't stop me.
For you, I might do the same. A cold glass of rosé sounds pretty hitting the spot right now, if I do say so myself. Oh, I guess if you are a person who likes large trucks, there's the F-250.
Oh, I don't.
Our show could represent a big truck.
I don't like that at all. I reject that with all of my being.
You don't like a big old truck, Heather?
No, because I live amongst them in the sticks.
You know, when I lived up at the treehouse in Sonoma County, it was also, you probably see more trucks than me just because you're a little bit closer to kind
truck
of like
life.
Just like straight up logging, businesses, but also a lot of trucks like hauling like pieces of asphalt. I remember being like, why are there so, like, where's all the asphalt being laid?
Actually for me, my place is like Twin Peaks. It's trucks that are like carrying big redwood trees. But here down in LA, I was next to, coming from the airport, I was next to lots of trucks. In fact, it was wall on the right, wall on the left of big trucks carrying God knows what, gasoline, oil,
cars,
tomatoes, cars even.
The trucks that carry like 30 cars at once are my least favorite because, and they're all like, they're stacked like 4 high and they're like at weird angles because it's just like the best way to put cars on a truck bed like that. Yep. And at the same time, I cannot like handle being behind one because all I think of is one belt going loose and a car is
rolling off,
smash into the front of my car and I'll be killed instantly on impact because, it'll be going in a different direction than me.
That is a fear that I have too.
It's
Sarah.
just, I can't do it. I mean, if I'm in a position where I cannot get around this truck, I will survive, but I won't like it.
No, I agree. It's a little bit of a rational fear, but I think it has based in, it could happen. I'm sure
I don't think it's irrational. I think it's a fear with very low probability, but a not zero possibility.
A fear nonetheless.
That's right. Yeah.
Y'all, welcome to the show that unpacks the absurdity of everyday life for your entertainment. We also talk about trucks.
Are we absurd enough yet for you?
We just like to have a fun little chat for you to eavesdrop on. You're very welcome in advance.
We're wacky today, guys, okay? We're coming in hot. Heather and I are just going to bounce off the walls for the next hour or so. So, buckle up, buckaroos.
Buckle up.
Yeah. Somebody in the grocery store the other day, we were not like in the section where this would make sense, but like she was like, there were a couple people, they were shopping together and she goes, holy guacamole. And like, she wasn't looking at guacamole. It was like they were having a conversation. They weren't talking about food, but it was like, and I kind of chuckled to myself, like, I wonder, maybe she has kids, and it's just like a way to like have like a expletive superlative type thing, but it be like super G rated. I mean, I will occasionally say holy cannoli. It's not that I'm trying to avoid cussing because I talk like a sailor, but I thought it was funny. Holy guacamole. I've probably heard that before, but it felt new and fresh to me the other day.
Yeah, I like that one. I might have to I might steal that too. I'm all about stealing funny phrases.
It's inspiration.
I'd like to bring that one back.
It's transformative. That's how you get around copyright law.
Exactly, Sarah.
So, yeah, God. Did I mention I'm punchy today? The heat has gotten to me.
Same.
Well, yeah, we talk about all sorts of stuff on the show, and today in episode 250 is no exception. So, Heather.
Yes, Sarah.
Protein. Now, protein as a building block of health, part of the food pyramid. This is not something new to anyone. This is not a thing you're hearing about for the first time coming from my lips to your ears. Of course not. Protein is important. We need protein. Milk has protein. Meat has protein. There's protein in various vegetables. Protein powder goes into smoothies. Yeah, wild rice, lentils. Cauliflower turns out lots of protein. A variety of supplements, powder only being one of them. You get protein from a lot of places. Now, I know people who, I have, if you've listened to the show in any regular capacity, you know that I can be kind of an unusual eater. I mean, I am in general a pretty good eater. I sometimes just give in and eat like garbage for a long weekend and just don't feel bad about it at all type thing. When I want ramen and the urge has stricken, I'll get it. But, I like vegetables. I try really hard to, feel like I'm mostly eating a balanced diet, and trying not to, go crazy with just stuff that is for sure bad for me, like a bag of chips, which I'll just, demolish in 10 minutes if given the chance. Mm-hmm. So, I know that protein's important, but because I'm kind of on this, I'm doing this workout thing, which is, I talked about it on a previous show. It's like, I'm just going hard right now. And part of this is my body is my body has decided, that Sarah needs to just work harder than she ever did before. It's part of the aging process. I knew it was going to catch up to me at some point. I just can't eat Hostess ding dongs all day and not exercise and just be like,
did you ever eat?
No, I just tried to think of the worst thing I could think of. What would be the worst thing I could just
could
eat
you imagine?
All day?
Maybe Hostess Twinkies.
I think it's all the same, but
I know, I agree.
But just or ice cream or whatever. I just
don't make me feel bad, Sarah, about my ice cream intake.
You and I have different palates when it comes to dessert, but yeah, so I've been going hard, and hard for me, really, when I say going hard, it's like, I'm not entering a bodybuilding competition. You know what I mean? That's not my goal. That's not what we're doing.
That'd be awesome though.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot of work. I've known people who have been in that sort of competitive, class. And I'm like, it's kind of like all you do. But anyway, when I say going hard, this is for a variety of reasons. First of all, just to tighten. I got to tighten. I'm not overweight, but I'm like, I need to, I want my effort to show on my body physically, and I'm not trying hard enough, just got to look yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Okay, so we got that. But also when I say go hard, it's I'm hitting a certain, calorie on my Apple Watch, it's my move ring, I am closing that move ring. Even if I'm it's time for dinner, I've been pretty active, and I'm a good 75 calories away, I'm close enough. I'm no, I'm not. I'll, get my barbells out of my office and just do that, even stretching. It's just something that's just slightly above sedentary. It's I'm doing it. I know that some people kind of cringe at this because there are people who pay unhealthy attention to statistics where, 30, 50, even 75 calories, it's not a big deal, so it's I don't feel like I'm being obsessive in an unhealthy way. So, obviously your mileage may vary, and I would never recommend anything health or fitness related to anyone else because I'm not an expert. I only know what works for me. Sure. And sleeping, big part of that. And I have had, I would say, let's call it, give or take a solid 5 years. This is like pre-cancer, pre-COVID, like years now of poor,
You're going way
poor
back.
sleep. Yeah.
Way back.
Not every single night, but like in general, I go to bed fairly early compared to a lot of people. I just can't stay up all night. I'm nodding off at 10 p.m. half the time, and I'll try to, shoot for 8 hours. Very rarely, even have the time to shoot for 8 hours, because I've got work or whatever. But I mean, I would just, I'd try my best and I would not feel rested in the morning. I was in a foul mood, sluggish, irritable, And again, this wasn't like constant every day feeling like I'm in some sort of a prison of my own mind. But in general, just running on a sleep deficit, tossing and turning, too hot, have to pee, nightmares, just, like I would sometimes just be like, wake up in the morning and be like, I just can't wait to go back to sleep. I just have to get through the day and then I'll try harder tonight. That's no good. So I know that if I run myself ragged, which again, like, thank God I don't have an injury right now or just recently had surgery because, you can't always run yourself ragged. But physically, if I run myself to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have been on my feet so long, they honestly are like pounding. I need to just like get in pajamas and chill. Then I sleep great. I know this. I've always known this. Heather, I've been doing this my whole life. And still, somehow, I got enough off of my game that became the new normal. And I just was like that much less happy.
You have to like relearn stuff constantly. I think that's really what we've started to understand being older, quote unquote. I'm air quoting here. But I've noticed that too, where you're like, how did I not remember that this is how it goes? This is like everyday stuff. And you just have to like relearn it and remind yourself. That's why sometimes I think that's why people journal and why people, you hear people like putting little notes like on their mirrors, like little reminders, friendly reminder.
Yeah, I know. Well, and it's funny because I actually went into a friend's house the other day and they had, it was like different sticky notes of different colors. It was actually really cute, but it was like self-help kind of affirmations. This is not me. It just isn't. I don't even own a pen. So like, where am I going to write something down? But like, it's like, we all just, you got to approach it the way it is right for you. And yourself, and it's like, I know when I'm cutting corners and when I'm just like, it's almost like I'm rebelling against myself, like not running myself ragged and, the sleep thing and the not working out thing. It's like another and I can't emphasize this enough. You get to a point where you can't have the metabolism and, the energy that you had when you were a spring chicken. You don't. Everything's different. It's like when I say what works for me, it's like mentally and the motivation I can give myself, like that's what works for me because I know better. I know when I'm phoning it in, and sometimes you can just be like, I don't care today, and that's fine. Give yourself a break. But it's like when I just turn that off completely, when I was younger, I could just coast along. Like maybe on the inside I felt kind of crappy, but like, didn't really have a weight gaining problem, more or less just everything chugged along. And, so I just was like, well, I'm lucky in that sense. Some people have beautiful, clear skin and I just don't gain weight. And, now I'm not really trying to lose weight, but, again, just tighten mentally and physically.
Yeah.
So anyway, protein, big part of building muscle, which burns fat, which helps you just in general be stronger and feel good and have your clothes fit differently in better ways, all of the things. And so I was in my local grocery store the other day. It's like my local hippie store. They've got a big bulk section, like a Rainbow grocery. Not as good as Rainbow, Heather, because what is? But that was a huge, I mean, the hippie of hippiest grocery stores in San Francisco. It's still there. Wonderful place.
Absolutely.
Great bulk section. But This one has a bulk section as well. And so I was like, yeah, maybe they've got like some protein powder in there that's not some like muscle milk garbage kind of thing, which is nothing against muscle milk, but it's really sweet. It's sweetened with stevia and a bunch of other stuff that's in the ingredients where I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I get weird with like sugar alternatives. They tend to give me
too.
headaches.
What is it, stevia or stevia?
I don't know. Maybe it's stevia. Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
It actually. I don't have a problem with I'll just call it stevia because that's what I used to call it.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. I do have a problem with aspartame. That's why I don't chew gum, because aspartame is in almost all gum, and it gives me a headache immediately. It's just not worth it. So because of that reason, I'm like, anytime someone's like Splenda or, NutraSweet or whatever, I'm like, nope, I can't. I just don't want a headache right now. So I'd rather just not. And I don't like sugar anyway. So I go to the grocery store. There's protein powder there. It's kind of expensive, but I'm like, I'm not buying like that much of it. I'm just going to buy like something that I can use like a couple tablespoons in a smoothie just to give it a little bit more, a little protein oomph. And I know some folks who are kind of like even like doing like more like a fitness journey harder than I am, and I like triumphantly took a photo of it and I'm like, look what I got. And it was like collagen peptide protein, where like the protein content is super high and like no sugar. I mean, like nothing's added to it at all. I know it's not gonna like make my face look like I'm a little kid again, but it's like, collagen is good for your joints, and
Wouldn't that be amazing though, if they like someone like unearthed like this incredible product that didn't actually hurt the environment to make.
Right.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Then we'd all just, age backwards. But a friend immediately wrote back to me and was like, I don't think that this is a bad thing to buy, but just so you know, collagen and whey protein, very different. You got something with no whey in it, meaning it's not really good for muscles, it's good for joints. And I was like, but aren't muscles and joints related? And he was like, yeah, but I mean, if you're trying to, again, not bulk up, like being like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, at Gold's Gym in Venice, California type thing, but if you're trying to like get some definition, like muscle mass that you can see, which in general, I mean, everyone's different, but like people like that, they like to feel like, oh, okay, I'm not like soft, I'm defined, myself included. I just, look better that way. Then he's like, you gotta go whey protein or something like bone broth. And I'm like, okay, the bone broth is, that's a little beyond me. So I'm like, oh man. And then I started to like look up, I went down this like, I kind of knew that, for example, the milk alternative that I drink is made out of pea protein. Pea as in the not urine.
PEA.
PEA. Peas that you eat. And that is yet another kind of, they call them incomplete proteins. So like whey protein is a complete protein that comes from like meat and dairy, and it just, your body absorbs it in a different way. Not to say that incomplete protein is the same as no protein. It's totally better than none. It's good for all sorts of stuff for your body, but it's like, there are little nuances that, of course, fitness experts know about. And I maybe kind of knew, but I didn't pay that much attention. And I mean, I'll tell you, I am happy as a clam, like going like several days in a row, eating vegetables and salads. I mean, if that were to be my only option, as long as I was full at a meal or at the end of a meal, like I'm fine. And, there's probably trace amounts of protein and all of that, but not all that much. It's like, I've never been like, got to get my protein today. Like, haven't had enough protein. So now as part of, this Sarah 3.0, let's call it Sarah 7.0. I mean, we've reinvented quite a few times in this short life that I've had here on Earth. Sarah 7.0 is eating more protein. And Heather, I'm taking into consideration the kinds of protein I eat and trying to be balanced about that as well. And for my next trick, I will set myself on fire.
Don't do that. Don't do your next trick.
I realize as the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, God, Sarah, you are a boring old hag. But you know what? I like it this way. I do. I sleep better.
Lean in.
Yeah.
Lean in.
Yeah.
Seriously. I have been actually on this protein train for quite a while now, Sarah, because I'd say for at least a couple years. I have noticed that I just crave it. I just have been craving protein ever since I've gotten, quote unquote, older. And I just really need it. And I feel like I need it every meal, you know? And so I've been focusing on it for a while. I do the whey protein. I've been eating more chicken, more fish, as much, you know, probably with almost every meal. I mean, not every meal, every dinner. I try to have like a chicken or a fish. I've been eating more beef for that reason. Plus, I'm iron deficient, so I'm trying to eat a little bit more red meat. I don't really eat more than maybe once or twice a month. Maybe I'll have red meat. I'll have a hamburger. But I don't do it that often. And I do eat tofu, but very occasionally now. It doesn't quite satisfy me like it used to. And then obviously beans and rice and lots of vegetables, but I feel a lot better having protein. But this whole thing about like, yeah, our body's changing. Like I was just telling a friend the other day, it might've been you. Like I don't feel fat. I'm a smallish person, maybe medium.
I don't think anyone who would be like, oh, she's not thin. You're a thin person.
I'm a thin person. I have an athletic body, but I definitely notice that like certain waistbands bother me because of, you know, I don't want to say a pooch, but it's probably a little bit of a pooch, a little bit of a midlife pooch that I notice that maybe others don't. But like case in point, I put on a bathing suit that's always fit me like a glove. This is a one piece. I've had it for like, I don't know, 8+ years. I've had it for a while, but like my body hadn't changed. Even if I fluctuate within 5 pounds, it still fits fine. But I can't explain it. I put it on yesterday and it was kind of like, it was different. It was just like kind of slightly not like fitting. Like maybe I need like maybe a half size bigger or something. And I was kind of aghast. I was like, oh my God, because I don't fluctuate weight that much, like in general, my whole life. And so hence the pant stretcher, which I haven't experimented enough with that thing. And I had a friend stay with me recently who was like, what the heck is this thing? Because they stayed in the room where I had my pant stretcher station.
You know, it's so funny, Heather. I know you've told this story, but I remembered it in my mind as a shoe stretcher. Because I've got this pair of shoes that like didn't used to be tied on me and now are, where I'm like, how did my feet grow? Like the shoes didn't shrink. Like what's the deal? And so I was like, I've got to figure out that shoe stretching solution that Heather came up with, thinking it was shoes and not pants.
You could probably I bet the brand of my pants stretcher probably has a foot stretcher also, or a shoe stretcher that is a foot stretcher. So anyway, midlife problems. It's, you know, there's always something you're going to contend with no matter what kind of stage of life you're going through. So I did a little jaunt like I usually do every 6 weeks or so because I get island fever, even though I'm not on an island. But y'all who listen know the thing I'm trying to escape. So this was a little bit last minute. I was planning on coming down soon, but I got a ticket like 2 days in advance. I literally was just like, gotta get out of this fog. And I want to soak up as many rays as I can before fall sets in, even though we do have an Indian summer up where I am. And I'm really hoping, crossing my fingers, that we have an Indian summer because sometimes, you know, you never know with the year. Like some years are just wacky. It's like plants. Like one year it's doing really well and it's bearing fruit. And then another year, for some reason, you have no idea why it does not bear fruit. And you're perplexed. And then it's just nature. So, I came to LA even though the weather switched right after I left, because that always happens to me. It's kind of a joke within my family. It's like, yeah, if you leave, you know, like it's going to trigger the universe to like have the sun show up because, you know, that's just the law of physics. But I'm going home tomorrow and supposedly it's supposed to rain. And I'm like, oh my God, should I extend my ticket? No, really, I have to go home. It's been a short trip because I had to do just hit some doctor appointments, I got some glasses that I really needed to get. They're kind of my Cadillacs for the rest of my life, basically. My museum lady glasses. So I had to kind of come down here, get all those fitted and everything. So it wasn't like the most exciting trip, mostly juggling work remotely, which can be fine depending on the day, but sometimes it's a little annoying because I'm always having to like put my AirPods in when I'm on the move, and I'm like trying to get a snack at the grocery store, but like someone needs something and then I have to rush home to my computer. I guess I'm feeling like more and more like I'm living two lives, where, and I'm doing this to myself, and I'm not complaining here. I'm just saying that like I'm kind of in a weird middle transitional period where I'm like, I'm up there and then I'm trying to be here, not as much of the time, definitely not 50%, but I'm still trying to juggle the responsibilities of what I have up there. And when I get home, I'm kind of juggling the responsibilities of being in the country and worrying about the weeds and, the things dying in the garden and having all the work that piles up, the domestic stuff. And I think maybe it's all about me escaping my domestic responsibilities. Maybe that's why I come down here so much. I don't know. But in between like work crap, I've been walking the canyons just to get some exercise, work off that pooch. And I look at houses that I can't afford and dream of like this other potential life I could have. As for the rest of the summer, I was sort of thinking, I was like, because a lot of like publications and things that I find online, a lot of people are talking about, it's kind of, kids are going back to school. What can I do to like get the most out of my summer, which I know I have totally been on that bandwagon because I'm like, sun, just give me as much sun. I want to get my arms tan before it's too late. I'd like to know what y'all have planned for your end of the summer. And yeah, just email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com.
I love how much you embrace summer. And maybe that's because you feel like you don't live in a very summery place right now.
I mean, at
least as your home base. Before. I mean, you're definitely getting sun because you travel a lot, but like, I think it was last week's show, where it was like, the pressure to have like a good summer vacation, or summer plans.
Yeah, totally.
Where I'm like, I don't even think about that. When I was in school, I did, because it's like summer. You don't, it's like, what are we going to do? Like, we don't have to go to school, for 3 months.
Yeah.
Even in college, because I was always in summer school because I was trying to graduate as quickly as possible, which was a terrible idea, by the way. If you're a college student listening to me, stay in college. It's horrible on the other side. College is where it's at. Stretch it out. But
seriously.
But even then, it was like, I still had just more time. Well, I guess by college I was working, so it wasn't like I was really having summer vacations anymore.
I think you nailed it. You nailed it, Sarah. It's exactly that. It's like I've never lived in a colder place other than Paris for a year. It was record-breaking lows when I lived there. But that was only a year, like that was
but that wasn't the summer.
Well, it was the summer and it was
it wasn't
season.
cold
it was a
in
whole
the
year.
Summer.
No, it was. I mean, I don't think it was, but it was definitely an exceptionally cold winter, and it drew out pretty late into the spring. But yeah, I mean, I've never lived in a place as long as I've lived up north.
Yeah, Pacific Northwest.
That is as cold as it is.
It's that's what you're doing. Pacific Northwest.
That's exactly
specifically,
what it is.
At the very west. So it's like, I mean, I think you've got it worse than Portland, for example.
I think so.
And worse is
and
totally subjective, but
it's
yeah,
not that
like
bad.
for as far as like summer plans, I'm just like, I really think that is like a construct built around people with children, because otherwise it's
exactly.
like, why do we think? I mean, I know that summer is, you equate that with swimming and barbecues and being outside, and in a lot of climates, that really is the time of year where people do that, because it's like, yeah, it's not like balmy, the rest of the year type thing. So I get that. So so climate, big part of it. But then also like, well, family vacation. When are the kids free? What do we do? If we want to go to Disneyland, like what, when do we plan this? It's either, spring break or summer vacation kind of stuff. Cause I'm like, oh, summer, I just, work. And autumn I work, and then winter I work, and then spring I work.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some breaks here
Yeah.
and there, but I'm like, summer has never been like and now I get to do fun things.
Yeah, and the thing is, what my point was like, it is a good reminder because I stopped to think about, what does this mean? Like end of summer. Yeah, a lot of it has to do with kids going back to school. But the summer plans don't have to involve traveling like super far and wide to be meaningful. I love my little jaunts down here. I think sometimes I just driving to the Bay Area or driving to wine country can be just enough. That's all I need is to just get some new scenery. Little culture, a little different food, a little something different.
You like a nice road trip, or
really need.
a little, even like a long weekend adventure. I think that's very healthy.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I'm actually kind of sweating balls currently because I turned off the AC so I could record this, and it's getting hot pretty quickly here. Yeah. I'm actually on a third floor, so it's like
welcome to my world.
Welcome to LA.
That's why sometimes when you're like, oh God, it's so foggy here, I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I had to close the window just now. I'm like, I can't.
Shut up.
I can't wait for sweater weather. I love it. Just give me a layer. Even when I walk, Otis, even though we're only in August, it's like, we're well past the summer equinox. And so every day is just that much closer to the sun going down a tiny bit earlier,
Yep.
And that's even before we switch back to standard time, which is when I go into a rage for, the 4 months that it lasts now. Thank God it's not 6 months like it used to be. But anyway, so that's a whole other ballgame. I'm sure I'll be complaining about that right at the end of October
very
or
soon.
First week of November, I suppose, like clockwork. Every year I do it.
I read something today, Sarah, that reminded me of you and others who are like, especially myself right now, who's boiling hot. It was from the New Yorker. It was like one of those cartoons, and it said, "Hot, humid, cranky, and very uncomfortable girl summer."
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty apropos.
Hand raised, captain of that crew. But anyway, yeah, like even when I walk, like I will. Today is not really that hot. I mean, it's mid 80s. That's just like every day is mid 80s or hotter, and I will sometimes, if Otis and I go out first thing in the morning and I've got like, I got up early, got my coffee, I'm pumped, like I'll walk him as long as I can first thing, because eventually I have to just sit at my computer, It's like I can't just start work at 10 a.m. That would be nice, but it doesn't work for me on a regular day. And, this morning we were, we walked more than 3 miles. We actually hiked, so it was a walk plus.
Nice.
Which kind of means like we sort of I hunker down. He's good. It's too hot to take him out anyway. But then, and I'm getting back to sweater weather here. When I walk him, sometimes it's like because I've been getting used to like sunsets at 8:30, so I can take him out at 8. We get a mile plus in, and then and then we're kind of we're settled in, but it's like, nah, now 8:30 is just like a little too dark. I mean, I can see because I'm in a city. There's like street lamps and stuff, but I just prefer it to be more of that dusk time, but still cool. So it's like we've got this little window, and sometimes the window, like the breeze will pick up in the afternoon. I can see that it's breezy right now. It's still super hot outside, but in a couple hours, it'll be breezy and shady. Because the sun's, at an angle, so you got all sorts of shade. And then I often will like walk out of my front door, which is like under, it's like there's an overhang, so even on a hot day, it's like you're not in the sun right away. And sometimes I'll walk out and be like, ooh, I don't know. I might just need like a little, not like a hoodie, but just like a cardigan or just like one more layer. And then 5 seconds later, as I'm walking, I'm like, what are you doing, Sarah? Like, you would be so annoyed carrying that because that's all you would do is like carry that on your arm because it's way too hot for that. It's like my body just is like, I love layers. Layers are fun. Different colors, different fabrics.
That's like
layers.
The San Francisco in us. Because I like a sweater. I like a good jeans, boots, sweater. I prefer, like, I love fall. It's a great month. I'm not like against cold weather altogether. I just want to balance it out with some sun. And I think I'm not getting enough balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Heather and I, every week, we vow to not go weather. And
we
it's
like
just,
to deconstruct.
It's just in our blood. We are
is
built.
in our blood.
We are built for weather talk, weather snark, poetic weather that bothers us.
Maybe we should have been
the weather.
meteorologists. We could have been weather women. We could have just like been out, in our blazers and like talking about the the Vanna White with the arm and the map and talk about the cold front coming in.
Vanna White, not. I guess it's weather person.
No, just her arms, just her sort of like the way she would like present with her arms. But we would just do that with the weather map,
I mean, yeah, we could go the Vanna White route for our next meteorology careers. I was actually watching some local news the other day because someone I grew up with is an anchor on a local news station here in Los Angeles. Her name is Marla Tejas. If you happen to tune in, I think she's the Fox channel, whatever their the local call letters are in LA. But I mean, she's like my best friend growing up, and so when I know she's going to be on the news. I sometimes will tune in, like if I'm at the gym, and I'm like, oh, perfect, because like I'm a captive audience, like I'll put it on. She's on the 6 o'clock, so that works nicely. But and she doesn't do the weather; she's just one of the anchors. But I mean, which is a great job. But the station, and this is LA in general, just LA just skews kind of like a little bit more celeb focused, glamour, dressy type stuff. And
totally.
And the weather folks are like, they like this, like, it's like a Miss America competition, where you're like, wow, I mean, you are dressed up.
Yeah. I don't miss that. I don't love being that dressy, like I like a little like sharp cash outfit, but that, having to kind of, when we worked at Lionsgate, I felt like we had to like gussy up a little bit for these meetings.
Oh God,
I don't really miss that.
I didn't feel like
I would
had
wear a
to do
blazer. That would be like the most I would do.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that I'm talking like you're wearing like an evening, like
yeah. No.
I mean maybe not like a gown, but like a dressy cocktail dress, high heels.
I
like,
see. Yeah.
Like it's just it's a look. I'm sure there are exceptions. Anyway, I'm going down the weather rabbit hole again, but yes, meteorology. It's never too late, Heather. We could get right on that. Well, I've got just a sort of it's not really an announcement because it's not my announcement to make, but one of my mom's cats passed away today. Earlier today, and it was not a surprise. She was elderly. She was 13. So, for some people with cats, some cats live past 20. I mean, you never know with cats. Other cats, 10 is a good run type thing. And my mom has another cat. So the house isn't empty, and I'm grateful for that. But it's very sad. And, when she and I were talking about it, it's always, I mean, she did the right thing. I won't go into details, but, it was one of these quality of life questions. Is the quality of life there to the point where all this other stuff is worth it? And for a while, that was kind of a question mark. And then it became no. The answer was no. And, when you get to that point, the humane thing to do is what you don't want to do, but you have to. And so that's what happened. And it's very, because I've been through this a couple times with cats. I mean, with Otis, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I hope I keep my sanity, because my bond with him is just it's just different. It's different than I've had with any living creature, human or animal ever. But with cats, I have been through this a couple times. My two cats that I first had as an adult, that were my cats, not like the family's cats when I was a kid. They both passed away. They both lived relatively long lives. Before that happened, I didn't feel I was robbed of a lot of joy, but it was still really hard. And, talking to, countless, family and friends lose pets, cats, dogs, birds, horses, whatever, over the years. And it's so easy to tell somebody, you did the right thing. You had no, the choice was the one path forward. Like there's no path less traveled where you like somehow, cheat death for yourself or anybody else. You know what I mean? It's like,
wouldn't that be nice?
It's like you can't, I mean, you can be sad, and of course it's sad, but it's like, you just have to like, again, lean in. We use that term a lot lately, but just like lean into, it feels so sad. It is so sad. You have grief. That is healthy.
Yep.
Don't like pretend that you don't have it. You don't have to be okay, but at the same time, just know that that's just what we sign up for. It's what we sign up for. And you just, that like, sometimes I think about, I mean, I'm not the greatest person on earth, right? But it's like, I am a great pet owner. I can say that, it's like, I love my pets. And sometimes I think like, well, what if somebody else had adopted Lucy the cat, or Ralphie the cat who lives with me now, my little varmint. It's like, what if somebody else had? They would have a different life. Would they have a wonderful, amazing, where they always come first life? Maybe, but maybe not. But they have one with me. So it's like,
totally.
they it's like jackpot, like I'm a sucker. They hit the jackpot. And I know that sounds kind of like, I don't know, like almost like I'm, tooting my own horn, but pet lovers out there, what I mean. It's like, they are in the right place with you. And as long as they can be with you, that's the place that they should be. And, hold on to them while you can. And I will get off my soapbox now.
I'm really sorry for your mom's loss, because I have a tuxedo cat approaching, well, he's probably approaching 12, but he's slowing down. He's losing his hair on his chin, and you just notice these things. But
you just get you get older.
But you are a great animal. You're a great critter mom, I like to call it. You really are. You always have been, as long as I've known you, and you take very good care of your critters. And I feel the same way. I'm very doting on my critters. I love them so much. Sometimes I'm like, are they, are the times when maybe they'll nip me? Maybe I'm doting on them too much. I'm trying to hug them. They don't want to be smothered. But I also think that, they're like little people. And I almost miss them more than I miss my boyfriend. Even though I miss my boyfriend when I'm gone, there's something about just seeing Charlie. I'm so attached to him because I think I love Ziggy too, but there's something about Char that I think, because he's traveled with me for the last 12 years, back and forth to LA, San Francisco, all these things. And he's just been such a big part of my life. And he's such a big orangutan, that you can just throw over your shoulder. And he's such a mama's boy. So it's like, I think I miss him like a lot when I leave, I feel like I feel like I can't be gone for too long, or I feel like I don't want to be a neglectful critter mom, I think they don't know maybe they think. My boyfriend always jokes that he thinks that, like, after I'm gone a week and I come home and I go, do you think he missed me? And he goes, I think he thought you were taking a really long shower, or like you were just in the other room, you were outside for like longer than usual, because they don't really have a concept. But yes, pets. There's been a lot of articles actually lately about pets and people sort of like the over the top doting, not stuff that you and I do, Sarah, but the ones that put them in little baby carriages and they put little clothes on them. And it's like maybe more extreme in the way that they treat their pets like their children, can be a little bit, possibly smothering for them.
Well, yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah. Again, it's relative. It's relative.
Yeah.
There's we on Otis and my hike this morning. We were like almost done with our trail, but we saw like a big fluffy. I don't even know what kind. It was almost like a poodle, but more of a sheepdog face. But it
I
just
love
like
sheepdogs.
like almost like a perm, like a crazy permed wig that had been brushed out. I mean, this dog was just it was just such a floof, and had like barrettes and like
Oh, yeah, I've seen
multiple
those.
pigtails, like not just like the
Yeah.
one that you kind of see on top of like a Yorkie. You know, it was like a complicated hair situation and like booties, which some
Wow.
dogs, you know, they just prefer them.
Because of
You
the
know,
heat.
well, it wasn't hot because it was early in the morning, but like the terrain is a little rocky in places. So I think it's just like comfort, you know, for some dogs, whatever. But yeah, like the kind of boots that you see in the heat or the snow type thing. But I was
Yeah.
just like, why are they? Why? I didn't say this to the woman who was walking this dog, but I was like, why did she do this to the dog's fur? I mean, it was cute, but it was like also humiliating cute kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
how
it- but
far
it's
is
sort
too
of-
far?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as long as I don't know. I think most of the time I feel like I doubt the dog cares. I mean, as long as the dog wasn't, you know how some dogs are supposed to have the hair in their eyes and you're not actually supposed to like trim it because it's like their
Yeah.
eyes are like,
It's
you know,
protecting them.
yeah, it's like they were like, you know, genetically or, you know, bred to like have a certain kind of, you know, fur, you know, over their eyes. And yeah, I don't know.
Those guys are so
anyway,
cute.
that it's me trying to be a veterinarian again. Also a career I would like to
Also
have.
a career.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you might have too much of a bleeding heart for animals to be a vet. I think that would be really tough. I think you'd have to like really separate yourself.
Yeah,
You'd get
but
really sad.
I hate to think of like, oh, something that would be so rewarding would also be so sad that I'm not capable of doing it. I mean, I'm probably not, but I like to think that I'm capable of doing it for the
I think
greater
you're
good.
capable.
Yeah.
I think it would definitely be, you'd have to really switch your mental, you just mentally would have to really grasp, you know, seeing sick animals all the time. I mean, that would be tough, seeing them suffer. Anyway, enough about that. Let's switch gears to something a little bit more fun. I just
Please.
wanted to sort of end on a high note here.
Well, let's do it.
You know,
Let's get high as heck.
Let's get high as heck. Let's get our freak on. Actually, speaking of, dude, I did not know Missy Elliott was touring right now, Sarah Lane. Why didn't you tell me? And why didn't we go to the LA show? Because the LA show was like 2 weeks ago and we missed it. And now Missy
Well,
Elliott is
I
only
mean-
in Canada. And that's it.
Well, okay. I knew that she was touring because there, you know, a fair amount of billboards just around LA.
Well, I don't get those billboards up north.
I
don't
understand.
get anything cool like that.
I understand
I
that.
get billboards for F-150s, all right?
I mean, I don't pay a lot of attention to live shows because I just don't go to them.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody's like, "Hey, Sarah, do you want to go to this cool live show with me? I got an extra ticket."
Sure.
Like even if I like pay for the ticket, it doesn't have to be free. But I'm like, oh, sure, that sounds fun. But like, I very rarely, you know, go through. Like, I'm not the person organizing that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. And then I didn't realize that you wanted to go to a Missy Elliott show that bad.
I think that would be so. Here's the thing. I think it's the nostalgia of it.
Of
and
course,
I
yeah.
don't know if you remember, but when I had a flip phone, I believe you and I were working together probably in the early 2000s in San Francisco. And I had this kind of bigger flip phone. It was silver, and I had the Get Your Freak On ringtone.
Do, 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 do.
Do-do-do-do. I don't know if you recall that, but anyway, so
I
that's,
don't, but I can hear it now.
yeah. So that's one thing. And then the other thing I wanted to end with is, well, I think the Missy Elliott thing comes from, I had a couple friends go to a concert at Hollywood Bowl like last weekend. Do not make me pronounce the name of this band, but I do like the band. I think what they were saying is it sort of reminds them of like back in, I guess this was 90s, early 2000s, where like more Chiba, Massive Attack, all of that stuff came out, like the trip hop. So it kind of has a little bit of that vibe. And I was like, damn it. I didn't even know about this band. I didn't know. I can't even pronounce it. It starts with a K, I think. But they went and saw that. And I was like, oh man, I want to go to a show. That would be really fun. But yeah, instead of going to shows, I've been eating a lot of ice cream, which isn't really me. I'm not like, I would say I'm more of a cookie person. But ice cream has been kind of, I don't know, it's been something that I've been craving more. I don't know why. But I've been eating more ice cream than I like. I like to indulge, but not in such like heavy things, only just occasionally. But I've been eating it more often, like days in a row. Where I'm like, I had Ben and Jerry's the other night because it was just in the freezer because I'm staying with a friend who literally stocks his freezer with 12 pints of ice cream at one time.
That's
so
a
you're
lot.
bound to find something that you want to eat.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Me and his wife actually joke about how he clearly wants to live with fat people because he fills the kitchen with cookies and ice cream like all the time. But yeah, and yesterday I was at that Salt and Straw there's one down the street, and I just like, I had to do it. They had like a mint chip situation. I did it, and I felt kind of bad about myself, but I wanted to Google it. So I chat GPT'd like, truly, like, especially in summer months when it's hot and ice cream is really extra satisfying. Apparently eating a half a cup serving of ice cream per day is totally fine. It won't move the needle like on your weight. And I thought, oh, okay, because I don't usually need
half a cup is just
scoop.
like, that's annoying.
That's not a big deal. I know.
Like if I'm eating half a cup, I want the cup. Give me
I'd
the
rather
cup.
do a cup like once a week, or a cup every third day. I mean, dietitians out there, does that work? Can you do the math and like, take that serving and just spread it and make like a bigger serving, but like don't do it every day. Anyways, email us at hi@havesuchagooddday.com if you're a dietitian or you know this information. And we'll be back next week with episode 251. We can't wait. We can't wait to do it again. But we'll see you soon.
We're going to
enough.
wait, Heather. So you better
We
figure out a
wait.
way to wait. Yeah.
We have no choice in the matter.
We really don't.
But in the meantime, I am going to sweat my girly balls off, and I'm going to head back home and hope for the best. But we love you guys. We just do. We do. There's love emanating from our microphones.
Yes. I mean, dripping off mine. It's kind of gross, actually. Have you ever seen love up close
Sweaty
in person?
love.
It's not pretty. It's not a Valentine card at all. Yeah, it's more of like a bleeding heart. But it's funny. Ice cream. You know me, Heather. I'm like, I could just never have dessert again. I don't care. That's not really true. That's way too too
get a
extreme.
hankering.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you put like a piece of chocolate cake, any kind of cheesecake, or peanut butter and chocolate ice cream in front of me, I will love it every time.
Well, there's some peanut butter chocolate ice cream here that has not been opened yet, Sarah. So
delicious.
You get your little tight booty up here.
Well, it's gonna get tighter before it gets
looser, or it's going to stay loose
well,
before it gets
tighter. I hope it gets tighter before it gets looser. Jeez. Yeah.
God.
Anyway, I don't know. Tight butt, whatever. I'm going for it. But one more thing on ice cream, and then we're going to wrap up this puppy. So I'm at the same store that I get the collagen protein powder from. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those. They have a lot of samples around. Some grocery stores, they don't do that anymore. It used to be always there was
you're right.
The sample
COVID.
at the end of the aisle, and they want to get you to buy the thing, and you often do because it's so good. Well, at this grocery store, they don't really have setup stations, but and I don't know. Maybe I just get lucky and I'm always there when someone's doing it, but someone's always coming up to me being like, want half a peach? And I'm like, the whole half peach? Yeah, and it's like for free. I'm like, of course. I mean, I like free things, especially food.
Who says no to a peach?
Well, or sometimes it's like, I don't know, like a bar or granola, or, it could be a variety of things. But the other day I'm there just grocery shopping, doing my thing. And some guy comes out from the back, bust through the double doors, and he's like, ma'am. And so I look at him like, oh God, what? And he says, would you like a mango popsicle? And it's in the wrapping and everything.
What?
He just took it out of this box, and I'm like, what's wrong with it? And he's like, nothing. Do you want it? And I'm like, yeah, I want it. I just, whatever, and then I look around and I realize that he's obviously been on a mission, and like 30% of the people grocery shopping are eating their mango popsicles. So I was like,
that sounds
okay,
so good
me
right
too.
now.
Yeah, and it was like, grocery stores tend to be kind of cold anyway. I'm
Yeah.
like in the produce section already, and like opening the freezer doors. But so we all eat our popsicles, and I was like, this is living, man. This is living. And I wouldn't eat a mango popsicle, like, this is just a part of the frozen section that I just walk by,
Sure.
I would never buy them. I just don't think about it, even though who doesn't like a good popsicle? It was a delight. I
remember making popsicles as a kid. You put the little toothpicks in the little ice cube trays. I love a good popsicle. I really do. I love a good coconut popsicle. That actually, I might have to trot my little tight-ish booty down to the grocery store and get myself a coconut mango popsicle.
You might want to do
Sarah
that.
Lane.
Yeah, you might want to do that indeed. You also, if you're listening to this and you're like, these girls are a couple of kooky cats, and I just don't know what to do with them. If you enjoy the show, even if you throw Rotten Tomatoes at us in your mind when we talk about some of our
weather,
more eccentric things, if you want to become a patron, you become part of the show. You become part of the community. You can interact with us more. You can get in our Discord. You can send us an email, hi@havesuchagoodday.com. Whether any way that you listen, we wanted to get your feedback, your ideas for stuff we should talk about in a future show, any personal stories you want to share with us, we'll take all of it. But our patrons are extra special because you actually help us keep the lights on. Heather and I do this every week, just the two of us. We know the show rambles and is silly. We go off the rails, but we have a lot of fun doing it, and it's an honor to know that other people get something out of the show. So we would love it if you would like to part with a couple bucks a month, throw it our way. It helps us keep the show going. As fun as it is, it's also, time and effort. So that's that. I won't go on and on about that. You guys know the drill. We'll do it at the end of every show. But what we also do at the end of every show is say, we love you. We will talk to you soon. We'll be back next week. And until then, I will be Sarah.
And I will be Heather forever. Have such a good day.
Bye-bye.